Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Shojo's Bizarre Adventure. It is I, your host, Stella Luna.
And Laura Newseth. Hello.
And this week we got a guest!
Hello. Hello.
Hi, guest. What is your name?
Hello, guest.
I don't know. Who am I? I stumbled in here. I don't know who these people are. I'm scared.
Shut up.
So
Shut up
rude.
and say your name!
Hello, I'm Mr. Underhill. I am your tea-sipping owl man over on YouTube. And I used to be the shipping professor on TikTok until I stopped doing that. Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
The shipping professor. Oh, lordy.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Tell us a little about that.
Oh, okay. Sure. I used to be the shipping professor on TikTok, where I would talk about different ships in anime, mostly anime, but sometimes video games. And it was a lot of fun until it was not fun anymore. And yeah, it was usually people being mad at me because I didn't like a ship, or they shipped something that I didn't, or whatever, you know.
That's funny.
It was fun
because we're gonna be talking about BL this episode, talking about them gay ships and the BL-ness. And I know so for this episode Lauda and I really wanted to do an episode about this, but the thing is that like we're both women, so our voices are not should not be as prominent as a male BL lover such as yourself, Jojo. Oh, that's Jojo's. That's his name. I'm gonna call him Jojo. His name is Mr. Underhill. It's Jojo.
Well, it's Jojo Underhill.
Jojo Underhill. I call him Jojo. We talked about it last episode. You guys know who he is because I talked about you a lot last episode.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. I didn't know that. That's nice.
Nothing but nice things, though.
See, now I'm nervous, and I should watch this later.
I know,
but
don't say anything.
No, that's nice. Yeah. Well, I think it's funny because typically I think most people assume that like, oh well, the girl reads BL and the boy is like the one who has to get dragged into reading or watching the BL series, and it's actually the reverse. Like, there's been a lot of like BL anime that I've made Stella watch.
Yes, I've enjoyed them actually. I've actually thoroughly enjoyed them.
I want us to cosplay Sasaki Miyano really bad, and I want to be Miyano because he is my spirit.
We've talked about that.
He is both my soul and my spirit.
Well, it's because I'm taller than you too, so you get to be the the short boy with the tall boyfriend.
Which is my dream.
And it's so funny because like I bet we're gonna go to cons and people are gonna be like,
people
oh my
are
god,
gonna think it's you.
Yeah, they're gonna think it's me. It's like, oh my god, how did you get your boyfriend to cosplay BL with you? And it's like, joke's on you. I'm cosplaying BL with my boyfriend because he's the one who wanted to cosplay it, not me.
It just cuts to me in like the BL manga section, like where is this? Like looking for doujinshi and stuff. Like no, I've read this Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh one before. No, it's not good. No. It's BL. It's a good time. I'm a fan. I am a Fudanshi, and I wear that proudly.
Yeah,
well, which I think confuses a lot of aunties.
Yeah,
quite frequently.
Well, it's interesting because we'll see a lot of people talk about like how bad Fujoshi is, right? And I feel like
stupid.
And I feel like when you come forward and you're like, I'm a Fudanshi, everyone goes like, what did Jesus just say? Did he wait, hold on, a dude who's reading BL and self-proclaiming himself as a Fudanshi?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, it takes people back. Like, what?
It does. I know this because anytime I talked about shipping on YouTube, it would throw everybody off big time. Because it was usually like MLM ships or WLW ships and stuff like that, and it would throw people off like tremendously. Because I'm not just like a BL guy; I also like GL a lot as well. But like. I don't know. I like that type of stuff. I think that dynamic is really interesting, especially in manga and anime, because Japan has a very interesting dynamic with LGBT And so I think it adds like just a little bit of spice to it without it being overly dramatic. Because the truth is, a lot of BL is just shoujo romance.
It is,
But
yeah.
now they're two dudes. That's
Mhm.
that's
Well,
it. And
what
I don't
got
think it
you
needs to be any
into
deeper than that.
what got you into BL? Oh, I feel like I actually don't know. I don't think we've ever talked about this, and if we have, I've totally forgotten.
I don't know if I should say. Um. So. Okay.
Oh
So
wait, no, I feel like I know what the series is gonna be.
So I was away from anime for a little bit, right, in my teen years. I was away from it, and then friends asked me like, "Hey, do you want to cosplay Soul Eater with us?" And Soul Eater was the show that I was like, "I don't know what that is." So they showed me Soul Eater, and I was like, "Oh, this is anime. I forgot about anime." And I got back in anime through Soul Eater. Um, and I saw art of Soul and Death the Kid, and it made me go like, "That's interesting. What's that?" And people are like, "That's a crack ship, or not a crack ship, a slash ship." And I was like, "I don't know what that means." And so but it had me curious. It had my attention, right? And before that, when I in secret, in secret, I actually knew what those things were because I was a big Kingdom Hearts 2 fan. And in Kingdom Hearts 2, they had Organization 13, and
Mhm.
Organization 13 on DeviantArt had like just the most gay. It was very gay, and
Mm.
all of the organization was shipped with each other. And the first doujinshi I ever read was actually Sora x Roxas, which is weird because it'd be like him dating himself. Yeah, and that's how I became a Fudanshi, was through Kingdom Hearts 2. But then after that, it was free. It was mostly free, and then after free was Junjo Romantica and everything else. So yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess I
And I know the name Junjo Romantica just made everybody like panic. You know, like that made everyone be like, "I can't believe he referenced to such problematic material." You know, like,
I'll give a
whatever.
warning. This might be a more maybe not an episode that's super friendly for our
No,
younger listeners.
yeah, no,
no.
no, no.
I
So
will attempt
there is your warning.
curb. Yeah, I will attempt to curb for a younger audience. But you guys dragged me here, so I don't. I don't know if I am minor friendly, but I will attempt to be. But yeah, all I'll say is don't watch Junjo if you're not of a certain age, because it's a lot. Um, Also, you shouldn't be watching stuff like Banana Fish either, though. Just as an aside, because
Yeah,
that's
banana
also a
fish
lot.
is also. I was about to say banana fish is a lot.
Yes,
Mhm.
Junjo's just like problematic, and you have to understand. That's. Can I talk about that? Can I talk
Yeah.
about problem?
Yes.
Are we allowed to
Yes.
talk
Yeah,
about?
Yes.
we can talk about that. Yeah.
So that's, I think, a big element that a lot of younger people get confused on. And I'm not blaming younger people. I'm actually
Mhm.
very happy that people like have these concerns, because it shows me like, oh, okay, people like care about these issues in a way that they didn't when I was younger, and that's a good thing, right? But a lot of younger people get this like assumption that because something is problematic or of its time, it should never be watched or it shouldn't be
Mhm.
enjoyed. I love Junjo Romantica. It is a train wreck of a show, right?
Mhm.
Especially when you watch it today. It is like watching a train wreck in slow motion, and it's great. And I love it. Another show that's like vaguely problematic, but I also really enjoy is Love Stage. I love Love Stage. That show is such a wreck, but is so good. And I think that we should be allowed to enjoy these things while
Mhm.
still acknowledging that they do things that today would not be okay.
Well,
There's a big difference between Junjo Romantica and Love Stage versus like Given or Sasaki Miyano, right?
Oh yeah.
And some people prefer the new stuff, some people prefer the old stuff. I'm in the middle. I like a little bit of drama, I like a little bit of spice, but not so much to the point where it becomes gratuitous. Like
mhm.
I would like a blending of the two
Mhm.
worlds, you know?
Well, it's
Yeah.
good. It is good for a reader to be critical of the work that they are indulging in, or they're
Yeah.
Mhm.
reading or watching, right? Because you can watch a series and go, yeah, this stuff is not like this right here is not okay, but you acknowledge that it's not okay, right?
Yeah.
And that you
Yeah.
should be like, as a reader, you should be trying your best to engage with things that might be more problematic, because you have a lot of critical thinking skills that come from that. And if you surround yourself with only things that are not problematic whatsoever, the real world is like kind of really harsh in comparison to that, because like
Mm-hmm.
the thing is
Yeah.
like, yes, it's a work of fiction, and there are things that are going to be problematic in it, but the real world is probably by far more problematic than any
Yeah.
piece of literature that actually like is written for the most part.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
that's part of the human process, right?
Mhm.
Like humans are inherently problematic, and like
Mhm.
through our fiction, we can like come to kind of learn about the better or worse elements of each other. I think by like our very nature, humans are problematic, and I feel like people need forget that like you're two things. Like you're not just all the good things about you; you're also the bad things about you,
Mhm.
right? And people assume that like people right now we're in a better place, but there's always going to be
Mhm.
like negative, and I think like it's very good how over the top we are in trying to be like, no, we have to like be kind to everyone, but in we have to make sure that everybody's feeling good about themselves and nobody's feeling left out and blah blah blah. But like in doing that, like I feel like we are kind of like pushing away like all that dark side of ourselves that we should not be like attacking, but more so sort of like trying to come to grips with and understanding, right?
Yeah.
And being like somebody saying something that's like out of pocket,
Yeah.
right, shouldn't result in them losing everything that they've ever had, right? It
Mhm.
should be a learning, like it should be a time for learning. If somebody's a repeat offender, then like yeah, screw that guy. Like
Yes.
if and like when people say things that I think are dumb, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty dumb. And then I kind of just chalk it up. I'm like, okay, everybody gets one, like I just kind of like, all
Mhm.
right, everybody gets one. I kind of like jot that down, right? Everybody gets a few, and then if it's too many, then I'm like, okay, that's enough. And I don't, but I will say I don't think that reading BL is one of those like everybody gets one. I think that that's
Yeah.
kind of ridiculous.
Well, I feel like there's a very big misconception, especially among minors on social media, that all BL is problematic
Yeah.
when that isn't the case. I mean,
No.
I could name a whole list of like Shojo series with straight characters are problematic, Josei series. Like
Yeah.
there's a long list of problematic series in any demographic and genre. So the fact that people just keep like shitting on BL as a whole genre, and it's just uh
It feels
I
well, it feels a little misogynistic and
it
homophobic
does.
at the same time.
Mm,
It
yeah.
comes from like a lot of a lot of like anti BL. I'm not saying all of it. So if you don't like BL, this isn't like a blanket statement, but a lot
Mhm.
of BL like hate and anti BL like rhetoric typically comes from like a turfy standpoint, right? Because it's like that's like you're not a lot like it's a sort of like reaffirming kind of gender roles, and
Mhm.
that like includes like men can't be gay, and like women like are dirty for liking this thing, and
Mhm.
it's like it's
Mhm.
very not good,
Yes.
not good, not good. And I've seen like the argument that like, well, most of BL is written by women, and I'm like, well, actually, that's like not wrong, but it's also
Mhm.
like kind of a gross misunderstanding. A lot of gay men actually write a lot of BL. It's just that a lot of it happens to be like bara, right? Which a lot of people don't like bara men and don't like reading about bara men. You're missing out, by the way. But like, but I feel like a lot of people get like they misunderstand, right? And like
Mhm.
everybody assumes that it's all like naughty stuff as well, that it's all like
Mhm.
R18 stuff, which is not always the case.
Mhm.
I haven't read any of that because I'm trying to be very not, I mean, safe for work here. So I wouldn't know anything about any fire in anybody's fingertips. I wouldn't I wouldn't know anything about any of that. I'm I don't know these things. I haven't read any. I haven't actively searched for those types of dojin. Nah,
You
nah.
don't have to lie, right?
Hmm? What?
You don't have to lie.
I don't know which side you're on. I can't see.
We like the
Um,
spice here. It's
yeah,
okay.
we okay. Well, in that case, yes, absolutely,
I
yeah.
am too I am too your Right.
Is that?
Yes.
Okay. So I look that way. That was that way. Okay, got it. Yes, understood. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not lying at all.
You don't have to lie. You literally don't have to lie. It's okay.
I'm doing my adorable wink.
I was about to say.
Wait, the audio listeners won't be able to
yeah,
hear
I
that.
was about to say.
Wink. There you go.
I was about to say there's audio listeners only. Like it's not just the
Whoops.
video.
I forgot about that. I'm a video tuber, people.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why.
Your
I'm
own
a video
his
VTuber.
podcast isn't on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Not like ours.
Imagine being on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, like a real podcast.
Cringe.
I know.
Cringe.
Like a real podcast.
I might be. You drag me onto your show, and you insult my show. Unbelievable.
Yes, I do. Yes, this is my show. If you want to insult our show, you can go back
Louder,
to your own show.
You believe this insulting. Anyway. Next up.
Spicy BL. We like it.
We do. We like spicy BL. There's nothing wrong with spicy BL. There's nothing wrong with spicy BL scenes in an otherwise pleasant BL series.
Well,
I will say that I think that you can have moments where it's written wrong, or moments where you feel uncomfortable with it. Am I allowed to spoil something from? Actually, you know what? I don't want to because Stella hasn't seen it yet. There is a scene in a series that I like. It's about a rock band.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I was like,
It's a scene from Given. I won't say what the scene is, but if you've seen it, you do know what I'm talking about. In a later part of the series, there is like a scene that happens between two characters, and it's a little out of left field, and you are kind of like, wait, why did that happen? But it furthers the narrative, and it's not something that the character walks away from scot-free. Right. And I feel like people often misunderstand that because there is something that happens in it that is not cool.
Yeah.
Right. And people are like, oh, I can't believe Given did that. I thought it was one of the good ones. And I'm like, it is one of the good ones. In fact, they're all the good ones. You just have a hard time discerning fiction from reality. And on top of that, the character suffers consequences for that decision. So, yeah, I don't.
Well,
By the way, Given is, especially the movie, is a masterpiece in my opinion. But like, yeah, I love Given.
Well, here's the thing, right? When we're like kind of on talking about like not like in-depth spicy, but just in general, right? Now tell me if I am wrong, but I personally don't see, and this might be the ace side of me though. This might be just the ace side of me. Where it's like, I personally don't see the difference between intaking spicy straight content and spicy like BL content, right?
For me, it's the same thing. It's
Yeah. No, I'm the
I
same
don't
way.
I don't self-insert when I'm reading
Yes.
like BL or like regular smut.
Yeah. I am ace as well. I'm like super ace, but like I enjoy smut and spicy stuff and all that fun stuff because I don't know, it's just interesting to me, right? I don't want to be a part of it. Like that's where I'm at with that. But reading it is still fun and interesting to me because like, ooh, like the characters are doing the naughty things, like, oh, spicy. There's still things, and I will say that a lot of manga and doujin and stuff tends to censor the bits that I think are gross. So there you go. There's that. To me, it's more about the characters like in that scene and like the spice comes from like what is happening there as opposed to the act of it. Like that's like the spice, right?
Well, because I know a lot of people will sit there and say and tell women that they are fetishizing by reading spicy BL, and I guess like
I find that insane.
Because like from my perspective, right? Because like I guess like as an ace person, I definitely can understand that. Because like even with straight spicy, I don't insert myself, and I would assume for a lot of women it's the same way. It's not inserting yourself into a situation, right? And it's feeling like it's not being a part of it. It's just like you don't always want to be inserted into those kind of things. And I feel like a lot of women have a lot of sexual trauma and they would rather not be inserted into scenes like that, but still want to enjoy spicy scenes, you know?
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the case with at least like with my friends who are also female that love BL. Like we never talk about the smut scenes for the smut. It's always like the build up leading to that
Yeah.
Yeah.
and what results from that intimacy. So yeah, it's like the sexualization of the characters doesn't happen all that much. And if someone's actually, crossing the line between not knowing how to distinguish fiction from like real life, like gay men, there's a problem. But for the
Yeah, that's a deeper
majority,
problem than
yeah, that's a
BL.
deeper
Yeah.
problem. For the most part, I will say readers, they know what to distinguish fiction from reality.
Yeah.
So the whole fetishizing, like male on male love is just I I feel like
I've
it
always
may
found it silly.
I I kind of feel like it may like they have the right heart, but they just don't take a
Yes.
step back to realize how much that would hinder just the existence of like gay media in general.
Yes. 100%.
Mhm.
By saying like I get that it comes from a good place, right? Because they're
Mhm.
trying
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be helpful and they're trying to support actual gay men. Um, as a member of the LGBT who happens to be a dude, I
And
appreciate
bi
it,
romantic.
but and bi romantic. Please stop. Don't do that. Let us fight our own battles. Let bi and gay men, whether they are whether they're allo or not, or ace, like let us figure that out. You know, there are
Mhm.
gay men who don't like BL. There are a lot of gay men who do, right?
Mhm.
Because we don't get a whole lot of rep, so when we do, it's exciting. Um, and we're seeing more series come out and be popular that are BL, and we're even seeing stuff come out of places that aren't like the West or Japan, right? Like I'm thinking most recently, a webtoon that I love is called To the Stars and Back. I love
Hmm.
that series. It is
Mhm.
so good. It's on webtoon. It's so good. I love it. And it's another depiction of BL that's a little bit more on the tame side, which is fine by me. I enjoy fluff, but I also need my spice. I find that there's a lack of
Mhm.
spice lately, but that's fine. There's a lack of good spice though. And by the way, your mileage may vary. There are some things that I find too spicy. You know,
Hmm.
you can have too much
Mhm.
spice. There's a something and something comes to mind, and I'm not going to say what it is. If you know what it is, you know. I'll just say that unaliving and following is what I'll say the series is called. And if you know what that is, good for you. But is a lot. That's too much spice. You can have too much spice, but even then, it's not real. It's a story. It's not gonna hurt you. That's my take. That's a lot of like a lot of the other like other dudes and even dudes like straight dudes, bi dudes, gay dudes, everyone who I've spoken to seemingly comes to the same conclusion that I do
Mhm.
find kind of interesting that we all kind of agree like it's just kind of a story, it's not real,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And I feel like too often people like attach these narratives to fiction that like, well, fiction affects your reality. I'm like, no, fiction does
Mhm.
not affect your reality, it informs your reality. If you wipe out all BL stories, like a lot of antis want to, suddenly you're not going to have very many gay stories coming out of Japan.
Let me tell you, as a kid, right, as a child, I did not grow up around, like, at least my teenage years, I did not grow up around a lot of LGBT, like, at all,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Same.
like, LGBT was very much like, I had seen people talk about it online, but I didn't know anybody who was LGBT. That's a lot. I knew one girl in high school who was bi,
Mhm.
and that was it for the people who are openly out. Because obviously now, like, a lot of my classmates are definitely LGBT, but back then, like, nobody was out, right? And imagine
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
get rid of these stories, you're like, no more, no more, you're not allowed to read these, right? it's a problem because like there's a lot of trans men who read BL and they've discovered themselves through BL. There
Yes.
is a lot of there, you know, there can be like you Jojo, where you came across like shipping and you came across like the Kingdom Hearts stuff and all that, and you were like, wow, this unlocked a part of me I didn't know. You know, like
Yeah.
if none of that stuff existed, no, like it sets a foundation for for people to start like realizing themselves. And if you get rid of that, you're gonna have a lot less people who are out and open because of that.
Yeah, well, and I find it interesting that to make the distinction of like, oh well, like a woman wrote this, so therefore it is fetishizing, right?
Yes.
Because I'm like, okay, so like all of the men who ever wrote for Wonder Woman, right? Like Wonder Woman, by the way, created by a man, is somehow not an icon of femininity because she was created by a dude. That's silly, right?
Yeah.
Like the creation, like the creator is important to the narrative, of course, right? But they are not the entire narrative, right? Like, and on top of that, like just because a gay man wrote something, right? Like let's say that let's say that I wrote a BL series, right? Why would I not want the most people reading it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Like why would I say that only other gay men are allowed to read my series?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's inherently stupid. Right? Like I wrote the series. Now like this is going to be a different vaguely different topic, but like I don't want to dwell on it. But like art like is also for profit, right? Like you are creating a thing, you want to sell the thing, you want the thing to reach the most eyes. You're gonna have to market to to that demographic, right? Like so
Yeah.
to me it's like why I don't understand why we're saying that these people like how dare that woman write that series, right? It's like, oh okay, so she is only allowed to write about straight couples, no gay, right?
Yep.
But then like that limits the pool and suddenly nobody's allowed to write about anybody because then it's like, okay, well Japanese people should only write about Japanese people. Men should only write about men. Right? So it's like where do you draw the line?
Literally, we talked about how like female characters in shonen are written poorly like half the time, and that like, well, it's for guys, it's for teenage boys, so therefore like of course the boys are written better than the women, and it's just like, what, you know?
Well, okay.
No.
Yeah, and I will say I am a big shonen guy. Before anybody is just like, oh, he only reads no, I am a huge
He's
shonen
a huge
guy.
shonen guy. Yeah.
I like Dragon Ball is my ride or die. I will always be a Dragon Ball fan, and also Goku and Vegeta is my shit. But like and Piccolo is my husbando. But even with that, right? Like let's bring that's a great example, right? Okay, so the shonen element of things, right?
Yes.
If you eliminate BL, sorry to say, shoujo girlies, that's a huge chunk of shoujo, right?
It
Like
is.
that's a huge chunk of shoujo just gone, and you're already completely oversaturated in a market by shonen, right? Like the market's completely oversaturated by shonen, right? So like bad move to cut off like half of your industry, which by the way, most people that I've spoken to like BL. Like the people that I come across who don't are usually just a very vocal minority of people, right? But when it comes to the shonen stuff, you reminded me of something that I wanted to bring up earlier. So BL has come a very long way, right?
Yes.
Like BL went from like being very problematic, not great depictions of gay men, right? But it's not supposed to be. It was just supposed to be like goofy fun time, right? Like that's what it was supposed to be back then because that's where we were culturally, and that's where Japan was culturally at the time. Because you have to keep in mind, Japan is not the West. They have a very different view on topics like LGBT, right? So Japan has been growing. Compare, really compare Given and Sasaki Miyano to like shows that came out like way back, like Sekaiichi Hatsukoi, right, or something like that. Like Sekaiichi Hatsukoi, by the way, not like a terrible
Is
example, but I'm just
Gravitation
saying
one?
Gravitation is one,
Yes.
right? Yarachin Bitch Club is another one, right? Pardon my language. Like, but like just like these shows that like, you know, like I still enjoy, but at the time were maybe not great depictions. But the scene in Given that, spoilers, Stella, I'm sorry, this is I have to make a point.
Go
Okay,
for it.
wait, I'm
Um,
taking the headphones off.
Okay. The scene in Given where we get the conversation with Kaji about how Iwanoyama like is coming to grips with his own sexuality and how Kaji's
Mhm.
like surprised by it, but he's not grossed out by it, right? Because Kaji
Yeah,
himself
yeah.
is bi, right? So
Mhm.
he tells him like, yeah, you're gonna have people who are like kind of confused by these things, and like that scene alone completely blows multiple other series out of the water with its depiction,
Mhm.
right? We're getting to a point where like the series are like involving these topics and like
Yeah,
diving
yeah.
into things more. Sasaki Miyano is not really shocked by liking Miyano because, oh, he's a dude, but because like, is that what I'm feeling? Like it's still more focused on the, is that what I'm feeling? It's Miyano, the Fudanshi, who is more
Yeah.
surprised by it, right?
Mhm.
And he's like, but I like girls, right? So like, so what's going on? Like implying that maybe he's gay, maybe that he's bi instead of just
Yeah.
gay, right? Like, so we're getting these elements added to BL that we normally wouldn't see in BL, right? So it's evolving.
Mhm.
Why are we not allowing them to continue to evolve? Right? Like implying
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
all depictions of gay men in the West were always good, that everything's been Brokeback Mountain forever. Like, come on now. That's inherently ridiculous. You have to let them grow and
Mhm.
evolve, right? And I think that part of the reason why BL is bigger now than it's ever been is because it's continuing to get better and better and better. And because its depictions are getting better, the quality of the content is continuing to get better and better and better. It won't surprise me if we eventually see like a huge BL series like break out and get like stupid popular. Like I'm talking like top 20, top 10 like selling manga popular like over time,
Yeah.
right? Like that would not surprise me, right? Now mind you, most of the top 20 is shonen, but whatever. Like eventually it might happen. But yeah,
Hey,
When can I come
if
back?
you're
oh yeah,
back.
yeah. Yeah, if like straight romances are topping like the best-selling manga in Japan, I can definitely see a BL getting up there.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
I think it's a matter of time, and we need to give them that time, right? Like
Shojo's
I
on the
think
way back.
Shojo is on the way back.
Yeah.
Um,
But
Shojo's Bizarre Adventure.
yes. Well, I was gonna say is like Shojo's back on the rise again,
Mhm.
and so eventually, like, hopefully, we can get like some BL to be like really like on. I feel like the one that really came close, which isn't technically a BL, that came like pretty close to being like was talked about pretty heavily when it came out was Banana Fish.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Banana Fish, not technically a BL, but a great depiction of what BL can be. I will
Yes.
say, like, another big element, right? If you're a Fujoshi or a Fudanshi and you found, like, you've basically read all of the BL that is possible, it's not possible, but, like, you might have, right? Read Shonen. Like, I can't stress that enough. Read Shonen, read other shoujo manga, right? Like, you don't,
Mhm.
like, bring that love for LGBT, like, topics and themes into other things, right? I know that you're a shoujo podcast, but Jujutsu Kaisen has very strong like LGBT
Mhm.
vibes throughout the entire run, right?
Oh
Like
yeah. With
very,
multiple
very good.
characters.
Yes, right? And the one character who everyone's like, that man is super straight, literally says like tell me if tell me the your tell me your ideal type of woman, or I can't remember what Toto says. He's like, what do you look for in a woman, right? You could say a dude, I don't really care, right? Like he literally says that. And Megumi does not respond with any gender, just says, I would hope that they blah blah blah, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's like the whole Gojo and Ghetto in general,
Oh,
just in
I
general.
love that ship.
Like, yeah, like it's throughout the entire series, right?
And something happened
Mhm.
in
Um,
front of a KFC.
Oh yeah.
yes.
Yes.
I'm not that far in. We're not going to talk about that.
Okay.
I do know that happened, but we're not going to talk about it.
All I know is I saw KFC tweeting out about it on their
Yeah,
Spanish account.
they
Mhm.
did. Yeah.
They've been loving it.
Yeah. But yeah, like there's that. There's I'm trying to think. Like My Hero obviously has a very big Fudan audience. Yuri on Ice
Mhm.
is like one of those times where like the whole community came together and they were like,
Yes.
"Yep, those two are gay." Like
I
everyone
mean,
just was
to
like,
be
"Yep, they're
fair,
gay."
like you don't just propose to your best friend.
You don't propose to your best friends? You guys don't like kiss the homies goodnight?
I mean,
After
that's
you don't give the
different.
homies a big.
You don't usually give each other rings.
You don't give each other. You don't like jump into each other's arms, give big smooches in front of a crowd after they did like a whole like a really good free skate. You guys don't. You guys don't do that.
Mm,
No.
You
no.
got some splaining to do.
I'll talk. Next topic. Next topic. What I do with the boys is a topic that will not be discussed.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah. All of you and all your boyfriends.
I have a lot of boyfriends. Don't even get me started on boyfriends.
Oh lordy.
Yeah, I was like, don't even get me started on boyfriends. I like boyfriends. Controversial.
You are
Yeah.
controversial. Oh my god.
I am. Jeez, I should really. Yeah, I don't want to get you two canceled. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop.
I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna be the ones canceled today.
Yeah. We're finally ready to cancel Mr. Underhill. I don't feel like I've said anything that controversial, but the sad thing is I'm sure to somebody that I have.
Okay. Give us your most controversial take.
A
On
BL hot take?
BL hot take.
on BL?
Yeah.
My most controversial BL hot take. I don't know if I have one. I really like BL, so it's hard for me to think of like a hot take. I can't think of anything. Like nothing's really popping. Lauda, do you have anything? I don't really have anything.
Not about the genre itself. I mean, more about the readers, but we already talked about it. That
Yeah, I have my opinions on antis and readers and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but I will say like I guess like my only real hot take is that the West, and this isn't like an indignation of like the fan base. This is more of just like a marketing thing.
Mhm.
We don't really market BL very well over here. I
No.
don't know if that's like a hot take or not, but I feel like there's a
Mhm.
lot of BL that like comes out that we just like flat out don't see.
Mhm.
You know what? Here, okay, it's not a hot take, but you want to see me get mad about something BL related?
Yes.
Go for
Okay.
it.
Viz, you assholes.
Oh my god. Go for it.
Viz, I asked you twice. When are you gonna bring Sublime to your app? Right? Sublime, if you don't know, is their BL imprint. Look, like my love mix-up's great. I enjoy the shit out of it. I would like to read something else, please. Like, it can't just be my love mix-up.
Sublime?
Okay?
By Nirvana?
Yeah.
Shut up. So shush.
What do you mean?
I completely agree. I completely agree.
We need more BL on the Viz app. Look.
Or just create a separate app that's like 18 plus. That's all you have to do.
The Sublime app, right? Like you have all of these apps. That also, where's Shojo Beat? Just as an aside. I know it
refuse
exists.
to acknowledge that.
Yeah, like I demand more than just. First of all, I already think separating Shonen Jump is stupid, but like whatever. Like that's the decision that they've chosen to make. I am losing any sponsorship with Viz after this, but like I need Viz to be more upfront if they're going to actually release more BL than what they have. I haven't read the GL like series that's on the app right now though. I'm going to look it up because I have it in
How do we relationship?
How do we relationship? I want to read it because it looks cute, but I haven't read that one yet. But yeah, I need a little bit more than just my love mix-up. Okay? That's my hot take. That's my hot take is put more BL on the app.
They've also been adding some more LGBT manga like printed, but I don't think it's on the app either because there's been some like trans stories and non-binary stories that they've published, but I don't think it's on the app.
That
It's
that
a huge
kills
disservice. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, oh, by the way, another series that sorry is I looked at my shelf and I'm like, oh right, Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul is also very good. If you want to, like, Tokyo Ghoul is like theming and everything. If you want like an LGBT shonen-y series, like read Tokyo Ghoul. You'll like it. But it's very dark. It is a spooky series, so read it like now because it's spooky season.
It is spooky season. You're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you have a lot of knowledge on this because I know there is a specific website that you love that talks about the history of BL.
Oh yes, Fujoshi.info. Yeah. So let me hang on. I have to find like I I know I follow them. I always forget their name. I'm going to talk while I look for it. But Fujoshi.info is like such a handy website for kind of like explaining like the history of Fujoshi, the history of BL, Danmei, which I definitely mispronounced.
Oh,
But like
God.
it's what?
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking about how it makes me so upset to see when I there when I see people talk about Danmei, right?
hmm
And them talking about it being like queer baiting, and it just makes me want to like rip
That makes me
someone's
want to
heads off.
die.
Like I'm
Yeah.
just like I'm like
Yeah.
you by saying it's queer baiting, you are literally like it makes me so mad because I'm like you realize how anti-LGBT China's government is. Like I don't think because I'm like it really shows your goddamn privilege when you say shit like that. I'm sorry, it just makes me really mad.
No, I feel like a lot of people that are against BL just forget about the fact that they're consuming media that is not created in America.
Yes,
They,
that is a huge element
Japan,
of it.
China, even Korea are much more behind in LGBT like issues than the West is.
They are
And
trying,
people,
right?
yeah, they're trying and they've gotten uh, they're taking steps into the right direction.
They're
But
taking strides, yeah.
yeah. But like people just insert like their I mean, I was gonna say Western ideologies, but just like their own values into a culture that they think they know a lot about, but they probably do not.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. By the way,
Mhm.
I remember like I had to look it up because I was like, who is it? Who is it? It's Sam from Rainy Studios. Sam Aburime, I believe
Mhm.
this is how it's said on Twitter. Sam, like if you type in Rainy Studios, you'll find Sam. They're the ones who I believe Sam is the one who created Fujoshi.info. They are a queer studies like they write papers on like queer studies and history of things like BL, right? Like so they're incredibly well informed. And one of my favorite things about Sam and about Fujoshi.info is it is as a site, it is incredibly well sourced. Like everything is properly cited. Like
Mhm.
it's an immaculate resource if you want to like get into like anytime I see somebody who's like I don't like Fujoshi are evil, Fujoshi are this, Fujoshi are that. I just send them the link. If I think that I'm not if I think that I can maybe get them to see reason, then I'm just like they're not, right?
Mhm.
Fujoshi just happened to enjoy these stories, and actually, like being anti Fujoshi and anti BL is actually kind of harmful. There's this website, Fujoshi.info. You should go you should go read. Somebody who's far more eloquent than I am
Mhm.
explain it, because the site is just a like beautiful like website. Like it's so like well sourced. It has like all of these like links and resources for you to like dive in and learn about like this topic and how like it like the course of it. Like if you've ever wondered like what Fujoshi even means, right? Like it's like a great resource for like all of these like it's like it has the history and definitions of like these elements and these things, and it's just highly recommended. I think Fujoshi.info is as a website is so uh like if you're a Fujoshi or you're a Fudanshi, this site is like a must. Like you
Yes.
have to have this site in your back pocket.
Well, because like, when you're trying to defend yourself, right, against these people who are trying
Mhm.
to throw out like pretty like big accusations at you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like the best way to combat that kind of stuff is with the facts, right? With
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
the cited facts and not just kind of like, well, this is what I say, right? Like this is
Yeah.
like it's sourced, it is showing like, X, Y, and Z like information, and that's the best way to combat it because unfortunately people like a lot of people just kind of throw out accusations without like knowing what they either A mean or that they just throw it out to just harm you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah. It's
definitely a lot of name calling, especially on
yeah.
TikTok.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm not on TikTok. Like I was on TikTok for a while. I still post on TikTok, but I don't bother to check it anymore. It's why I stopped being the shipping professor. Because okay, actually no, you know what? You want your hot take.
Yeah.
You
Go
want your
for
hot
it.
take?
Yes.
This is my real hot take. Fujoshi and Fudanshi, my brothers and sisters, I need you to step outside on occasion, because you get too involved in these ships. The shipping wars, as Fujoshi Fudanshi, are going to be our downfall. Because my God, they chased the shipping professor right out of me. I didn't want to do it anymore. Like if I had to hear one more Bakudeku fan come from my throat, I swear to God, like I can't deal with it. It's the shipping wars that drive me batty.
You know
I
what's
can't do it.
you know what's so funny too is I saw a TikTok about a theory of why the shipping wars have gotten so bad, and it all starts with the supernatural fandom.
Oh my
That's
god.
because it is a supernatural fandom's fault. Like listen, like that's whose fault it is.
I know.
I was there.
I was there too.
I was there when the first shot was fired.
I was there when the dark
remember.
magics were written.
Do not cite the dark magics to me, witch. I was there when they were written.
Yeah.
You know, I was there. I saw that shit. Right? I was there for like, but Wincest is gross.
Yeah, well, so
It's
okay, because this
gross.
is what happened, right? For like kind of context for people listening. So for a long time, it was just Dean and Sam were kind of like they're the main characters of Supernatural, and we
They were
didn't
the
really
only-
have any other characters besides them,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so a lot of people shipped them. And which is weird because
They're
they're
brothers.
and they're not even like it's not even like they're like
It's not a
stepbrothers.
Thor and Loki
or-
thing.
Yeah, they're legit just like full-blown blood brothers, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually a character named Castiel was introduced.
The
And
far
that's-
superior.
Yep. And
Ship.
then that's when Dean
Destiel.
and Castiel started being shipped as Destiel. And the thing is what ended up happening is that the Destiel and the
Wincest.
Wincest. I was like, what is their name? Wincest. Wincest shippers started having a war, right? And it became more about, well, whose ship is more moral, right? Who has a more moral ship, right? Which then bled into other fandoms of your ship has, like, what ship is the most moral ship, which is the
Yes.
better ship, right?
Which was dumb because like Sam and Dean getting together was just dumb because
Yes.
they're brothers.
Yeah.
Like, right? So I'm like, this isn't even a moral thing, just from a like shipping standpoint. It's just friggin' like, no, it's just a bad ship.
Yes.
Bottom line, right?
Bottom line,
like,
yes.
I literally did a video when I was still the shipping professor on Wincest
Mhm.
because I was asked, like, will you talk about it? And I was like, sure. So I did. And the Wincest fans came out of the woodwork.
Oh no. Yeah.
Right? And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even realize they still make you.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like
Oh.
fascinated.
They still
Right.
make them. Oshinoko
they-
has brought some of them out.
Oh my God, Oshinoko is a whole other like that's a whole other shipping.
Oh no,
You should-
Shioko!
You should bring me back for a shipping discussion. Like that's like we should have a whole shipping discussion because I know we got to keep it on BL, but like
Yeah, we can have a whole. We're gonna have a whole
yeah,
conversation.
because
about
I only said one of the big ships that made me leave.
Yeah.
Because one of the big ones was Bakudeku. Bakudeku was one of two ships that made me not want to be the shipping professor anymore. There was also like little ones here and there, but that was like the big one. There is another that is a straight ship that also made me want to stop making content
trying
as
to
the shipping
remember
professor.
which one that
It
is.
It was Cloud and Aerith from Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah,
VII.
that's right.
Oh.
Yeah, it was Cloud and
Oh my
Aerith. Because I don't really ship it. I don't like hate it. Like, and I even made that clear. I don't hate that, but it's just not for me. And they came out of the woodwork, and I think that's hilarious. But that's a video for a whole other topic because not all Fujoshi and Fudanshi are like shipping. Like that's not. Like, they are
No.
two separate groups, so I don't really want to get into that.
Yeah,
But-
that's true. Yeah. Because just
Yeah.
because you ship things doesn't mean that you are.
You're a shipper. That's like your favorite thing.
Yeah, you're shipper, or that you are like, Fujoshis are not all shippers, and not all shippers are Fujoshi. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because like there is a distinct difference between the two of them because like for me, example, right, I don't really ship characters. I kind of just read the story and take it as is most of the time, right?
Imagine.
I know, imagine, right?
No,
so
I,
like
I ship them.
Oh, I do too. and it's
Then
like
I
the
buy
weirdest characters.
merchandise.
Unless, well, unless when I'm talking about strictly like romance, right?
Mhm.
Like I kind of take it as is, right? And then I don't know where I was going with this. I got just my brain went whoop, whoop.
See, because for me, I'm the opposite of that. Like
Yeah.
I am a hardcore shipper, right? Like
Yeah.
two dudes will talk in a scene, and I'll be like, "Did you see them sparks?" You know, yeah. People are like, "Why?" They had like a scene together, and I'm like, "I know," and I love it. Right? My favorite characters are always side characters too. So like, it's
That's
just
true.
like
Mhm.
I love characters where I'm like, I prefer my headcanons to what's actually happening. Right? But like I still like what's happening, but I have two versions of a show in my head, right? There's Attack on Titan, and then there's My Attack on Titan, where Marco is still alive. Like My Attack on Titan, where Marco is still alive, and him and John are like a thing, and they are dating, and they are happy, and they're great, and everything's fine.
They're having a good time.
Yeah, having a good time.
Having a good old
Right.
time. Well, it's always interesting to me too because like I remember when people would like I'd see people like oh, there was a tweet. What was the tweet? Oh, it was the one about Heartstoppers. Do you remember? Or do you
About
not
the
want to
author?
get? Do you not want to get into that? I'm gonna set off something.
I
I
don't wanna
think I
talk
know
about-
what you're
I-
talking about.
I don't
I
think
don't
it
want
was.
to talk about.
I don't
I
think
don't
it
want
was.
to talk about Heartstoppers. That's my line. Is like I don't want to talk about.
I don't
Heartstoppers.
okay. Well, it wasn't about the Heartstoppers, the actual show, but like there was a tweet.
Oh, it's not. My opinion's not even about the series either. Like
Oh.
I don't want to get into Heartstoppers because the way that people infantilize that author and that series is nuts. Like the
Yeah.
way that people like
Mhm.
shield them is crazy. But like
Well,
again, I'm
these
not
are
gonna
the
get
same
into
people
it.
who just hate Fujoshis, though, right?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
the same
yet
people.
praise. Yes, yeah.
Mhm.
So they hate Fujoshi yet praise Heartstopper, and I'm not gonna say anything. I'm glad you have a series that you like,
Yes.
and I'm sorry that that series is boring as all hell.
But the
Hot
thing that like really like the
Joke.
tweet I was thinking about though was like from this one creator or like this one person, and because like we went and we saw their Twitter, but they said something really bad about
Oh,
Fujoshis, and it's funny because I was gonna bring up like how there's
they
a lot of
apologized for that.
I don't believe it. I don't believe their
They
apology
did.
though.
They genuinely did. Like
I-
I am always one like I like you can fool me as many times as you want. I want people to be better,
Yeah.
right? Like so I was like, you know what? I accept it. But yeah, they did apologize.
I was
for
gonna
that.
what I was gonna say though was the misogyny that comes out of
Yes.
out of it because like
Mhm.
there was a whole like there was like a post they had made and it was one of the most like ew posts I had ever seen, and that they had hated
Mm.
Fujoshi and Fudanshi so much that they wanted to use them as shields when
Yep.
pew pew was happening. If it
In,
ever happened at a like a gay bar or something like that.
Yeah, I remember them saying it was the specifically like in reference to the shooting that happened a while ago. I can't remember like
Yes.
the name of the bar.
Yes.
Disgusting.
Dude,
yeah, disgusting,
fucked
awful.
up.
No, it
yeah,
is
it was
fucked
very
up.
it was very
I was
fucked up.
really because like that's why that made me incredibly mad is because not only
Well,
was
and
it
that's most antis. to be
yeah,
fair.
exactly.
Like, that
Well,
is
yeah,
their rhetoric.
but not only was it, I wanted to kind of give an example, right, of like
Yeah.
what we're talking about because like we can sit here and go, well, anti's this, but if we don't have any examples, like you know, people can't conceptualize it
Yeah.
as well, right? And
Mhm.
from that one tweet is not only homophobic, it's also misogynistic. It's both of those things at the same
Yeah.
time,
Yep.
and it's really just really gross, right? Because like you know, like we sit here, we're talking about the antis, but like imagine someone just saying that to you. Like that's just incredibly like an ew and fucked up thing. And I was shocked to see that from somebody who is a part of the LGBT as well, that they would go after other people who are more than likely LGBT because they hate this one specific thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. I will say like it's usually and if you're younger, don't take this the wrong way, but it is usually like kind of a younger mindset,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And that's not me saying like, oh, young people are stupid because that's boomery and I don't want to be that. it's more of just an inexperience type thing,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Like, and when we're younger, we tend to say things that we don't mean very
Yeah.
often. Um, and I think a lot of that comes from that place because they did strike me as being, I believe they were like in their early 20s, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, right? Like, so I was like, yeah, like, it took me a long time to kind of grow out of that,
Mm-hmm.
as well. So I think that they're just trying to find themselves and they're saying things that they don't really mean, and they're upset at likely other things in their life, so they're taking
Yeah.
this as like their battle,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't like I'm not like I am definitely like against antis, and antis do drive me nuts, especially in regards to BL. But like especially when I'm just trying to enjoy my BL, I'm not trying to do anything else. Right? Like I'm not trying to have a deep intellectual conversation. I just want to watch this character kiss that other character, that's all.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's all I want. But like I also am not gonna like yell at them. I used to be like that. I used to get like just as angry, just as toxic
I
back, and that
still
doesn't
get
help.
I still get pretty heated. Like, good
No,
thing
absolutely,
I
yeah,
still haven't seen it in a while, but especially when I do see like I think you probably remember this, the one video of this one girl who just shared her like just the BL manga that she had, and she was just so excited.
yeah,
And then people just tore her apart, and that was like maybe her third video that she had posted on TikTok, period.
yeah. And she was like really excited about it. I remember that.
Yeah.
But I will say I did
Mhm.
see like the sea of like fellow Fujos and Fudans
Oh
and even
yeah.
just general
Mhm.
people like even outside of the manga and anime community also chiming in and being like, "Hey man, like good for you. You have like a cool collection.
Mhm.
You have something you care about. Like good for you." Like yeah, it's I these things get me heated and I get angry, but I don't want to like add toxicity to it.
Mhm.
Like I get accused of being toxic enough as it is. I talk about tea, like I'm a tea tuber, I talk about like the tea and like drama and stuff like that. So I'm already accused of being toxic enough as it is. So like I don't want to add to it. But yeah, it is a lot. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, I think it can be a little. I think like it depends on where it comes from, right?
Mhm.
Like I think
Mhm.
when things that are said like are misinformed is what makes me. I mean, I guess most things are really misinformed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I just see like people just pulling things from their ass completely, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, man, like that. I was like, it just, I don't know, because like I don't like seeing other people get hurt. Is where it's because that's where I get heated, right? If
Yeah.
someone's hurting somebody else, that's where I get heated because it's like you could say as much shit to me as you want. I'm gonna be like, okay, whatever, I don't care. But if you come after other people, oh no, it's all over. Like it's all we're
Yeah.
done. We're done here
Mhm.
because to me, I'm like, you like when people are incredibly toxic about these things, I'm like, what bothers me is that there's no repercussion like in the real world. And I think that's what makes
Yeah.
me upset is there's never
Yeah.
a repercussion for these people who cause like such hurtful things for people who just want to enjoy themselves, right?
Yeah. I will
Mhm.
say that I was a boy, so I played a lot of like Halo growing up.
Yeah.
So I was in a lot of like Halo and Call of Duty lobbies growing up.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to play video games and I got called the F bomb like multiple times. Um
Well, it's okay because now they're gonna have like people monitoring those lobbies now, and people are gonna be banned. So,
yeah, that'd be great. But like I guess like to me like so you know this. And Louder, I don't know if you've heard this, but like I have like a real problem with that word, right?
Mm.
yeah,
Like
Yeah, yeah.
cuz like that was carved into my locker when I was a kid,
Mhm.
not
right?
fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
yeah, I
not the
know.
F bomb. Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah, a
slur.
lot of my millennial gay friends also do not like that word, and I see it
No,
being
rubs me the
thrown
wrong way.
around a lot by like Gen Z, and it really confuses me.
Yeah, like I don't like I see it still used in like a derogatory way often. I've
Mhm.
seen members of Gen Z try to like reclaim it, which like I
Yeah.
like if you're trying to reclaim it, like I don't care. Even if somebody like I'm not the word police. I don't give a shit if you use
Mhm.
these words. Like again, like I think just be I think dudes have a unique experience where they're like they don't like certain words, but they also just like I don't have it in me to like try to tell somebody how to behave, right?
Mhm.
Because I'm like, I don't know, if you're just stupid, I just mute you, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm also like, I don't care. You can use whatever words you want, right?
Mhm.
Like, you say whatever you want. I don't care, right? But it just informs me on whether or not I want to hang out with you. You know, like that's it. Like if you if an auntie walks up and says that I'm a bad person for reading BL, then whatever. Like if they drop an F, if some other dude says ew you read BL, F bomb, like then whatever, right? Like I get upset, right? Like when I
Mhm.
see them say that to other people, of course I do, right? And I get upset when it happens to me, but at the same time, it's one of those like I don't feel like I can be I'm not Superman, right? I can't be everywhere all at once, you know. And
Yeah.
even Superman can't be everywhere all at
Mhm.
once, right? Like so, like it's one of those like I think that like one of the things that I will praise Gen Z for is they are very active. Not all of them, but a good chunk of them are active about trying to be there and like understand, right? Whereas millennials, like we wanted to understand each other, but we were very the world was kind of reacting in a negative way by the time we showed up into adulthood, right? Things were kind of falling apart by the time
Mhm.
that millennials got here. So
Mhm.
like we had other priorities, but Gen Z is I would argue almost too hyper focused on protecting each other,
Yeah.
right? Like to the point where it can actually become a negative. Not all of them, because as Laura said, some of them are trying to use f bombs in a way that is not okay. Um, but it is something I've noticed that Gen Z in particular feels the need to like yell about anything that seems vaguely uncool to them, right? Like they will freak out about it. I think that will eventually, as they get into adulthood, be changed into something more positive.
Mhm.
Um, and I am like
Just the
every
advice, just chill
generation
out. Just chill out a little bit.
just chill
Just chill
out.
out. Come
Yeah,
on.
Mhm.
It's okay.
that's my biggest thing is like I try my best to be calm a lot, right? And as a Fudanshi, like that's something you have to learn, right? Like you have to learn to be calm. Oh, and I am dying. Yep, I am dying. Um, but yeah, you have to learn to be calm if you're a Fujoshi and Fudanshi, and you have to learn to let stuff roll off your shoulder. It's gonna be hard,
Mhm.
especially as Lauda said. That poor girl, like there comes a point where you can't let it roll off your shoulder because it's so many comments,
Yeah.
you know. And in that case, you're gonna have to just like ignore it as best
And
you
I feel
can.
like the Fujoshi and Fudanshi community, like we will stand with you. Like when we
Yes,
see something like cross the line, like we will be there to like
we back each
defend
other up.
you. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a very accepting community. And that's
Yes.
what I feel like a lot of people that are not into BL and misunderstand the community just don't get it.
They think that we baby
Um,
each other, I believe.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and that's definitely not the case. It's just we know that, like, you know, like I grew up being told that I'm like a bad person for liking it, and then they find out that I'm a dude, and then they get all confused, right? Like,
I feel
right?
like I feel like you got a comment one time where somebody said something and you were like,
I am a, yeah. Somebody said, yeah, they thought I was. I think they thought I was like a girl or something, and I was like,
Mm,
I'm a bi man. Like
mhm.
I'm an asexual biromantic man. And they're like, but, and I'm like, yeah, I've had very intimate, like,
no,
I've been very
you had
intimate
a
with men.
conversation with somebody who was like trying to tell you how to feel. And I remember this.
Oh no.
Oh,
I don't quite remember this, but that does
I
sound
think it
about
was,
right.
I don't remember what video it was, but I just remember somebody was trying to tell you how to feel because you were like, but I'm a man. I'm a he, I'm a him. Like I'm a dude. And you're like, and they were like, well, you
Oh
should,
yeah, they were trying to say that, but as a man, you should be upset by this, and I'm
yeah.
like, but I am a man,
Oh.
and I am not
Mhm.
upset by this. And they're like, yeah, but like if you're a gay man, I'm like, I am, like,
Mhm.
like, I am this like I am very like fitty fitty, right? Like when it comes to like romantic attraction, right? And I'll sit in calls with Stella and talk about like all my husbandos, like is a nonstop thing, right? So like and I'll be talking about my man crushes too, Ryan Gosling. Why don't you return my phone calls? But like, listen,
He likes men more than I do.
it's true, like it's actually true, right? Like, but but yeah, no, I like I don't know, like it just be like
I
that.
think it's just so funny just having somebody who's Like it reminds me of the clip or like the Vine. It's like, that's my opinion. How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm like, okay, like, yeah, it was one of those like, you can have an opinion, but don't force yours on me.
Especially
You
when
know?
it's like
No,
about your
God.
don't force
Yeah.
your opinion on you to tell you how to feel about something. It's so weird.
Well, yeah, don't put it on. Yeah, it was. I do remember that. I don't remember what it was about, but I do vaguely remember like us talking about it, and I remember being like, that was so weird. Like, why? Like, why?
Well, it's
Right?
because it
But
goes against
over time, I stopped just react. I just stopped responding to
Yeah.
comments that I think are like mean nowadays. I just don't.
Well,
right?
I think it's just because they feel conflicted because they're like, that goes against what I've ever been told by other people on the internet who are probably not in the community nor identify as male.
I'm a paradox to them.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I shouldn't exist. Yeah.
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 You shouldn't exist. Yeah, you shouldn't exist. You're a VTuber. Get out of here.
Yeah, disgusting,
Ew.
right? I can't believe it.
I can't believe you're a
more reason
VTuber.
to not like. I was gonna say maybe it's the VTuber in me that's just like, you know, like that being a Fujoshi slash Fudanshi prepared me for being a VTuber because I'm like, you just let it roll off the shoulder, man. You know, like
because people
can't
see
be
the
upset
avatar and they
about
go,
it.
disgusting.
Disgusting, and
Oh
I'm
my
like,
god, how
okay,
dare
I mean,
you use a fictional avatar to seal your identity? You might not be a guy for all we know.
yeah, I'm secretly a girl.
Yeah, with a voice changer.
Yeah, I'm a girl with a voice changer. I forgot to tell you.
Yeah,
3 girls right here.
Yeah, 3 girlies.
3 girlies. Or maybe
3
we're all
shoujo
maybe we're
girlies.
3 dudes, 40-year-old dudes, Discord mods.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, except
my
you.
camera's
You're definitely
dying,
a girl.
by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely a girl. My camera's dying. I just need you guys to know that, just in case I like stop working.
That's okay. I stopped working last week.
Perfect.
But I think we could end it here. Yeah, I think we've been going for now over a little over an hour, so I think we're good. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you everyone for listening to this week's episode of Shojo's Bizarre Adventure, episode 9. I don't even think I said what episode it was. Episode 9.
Episode 9. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow,
crazy.
you're at part 9. That's crazy.
Part 9.
One more and you'll be more than JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That's nuts.
Yeah, we're better than JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Okay, now let's relax a little bit now. Let's not.
No. We're now better because someone said JoJo's Bizarre is better than Shojo's Bizarre Adventure, even though they're not even remotely the same thing, and that one's a podcast and one's an anime. But they just
like
rant.
it.
Yeah, I know. I do like it.
No, but that's what I mean. Like when they were like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is better. I'm like, first of all, it's just a cute name. Second of all,
it's a podcast name.
Stella likes JoJo. I'm literally making her. I'm literally making Stella watch it.
I was about to say you're not making anymore. I'm literally like, can we watch JoJo
at this
tonight?
point, no. Yeah, at this point, yeah. Stella was like, can we watch? I want to see what's going on with Joseph. And it's like, all right, yeah, let's watch it.
He's an old man.
He's an old man.
But I guess that concludes this week's episode. We'll come back next week with episode 10, and we'll celebrate with our 10th episode. So,
yeah. Thank you so much to Mr. Underhill for being our first guest.
Am I the first guest?
Yeah, you actually are the first guest.
What an honor this is.
I know.
Oh, yay.
I can't believe we brought a man onto the Shojo's Bizarre Adventure
Disgusting.
podcast.
Disgusting. Is for everyone.
That's Shojo is for everyone.
It is for everyone. Yes.
Yay.
Yay. All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.